Hey, look, I have 20/20 vision. Hey, everybody, my name is Brendan Noble, and I'm a young adult author. Happy New Year, and I hope that everybody's had a great year of writing and reading in 2019, and I hope that trend can continue into the new decade and a new year. Today, I'd like to talk about a topic that's been really popular on a lot of subreddits that's really getting to me because there's a lot of advice out there, and people just aren't deciding to follow it. So I'm going to try to take some of that advice, put in some bite-sized chunks, and make it really digestible. So we're talking about how to make your book marketable. This isn't necessarily how to market your book, but it's how to lay that baseline so that your book could potentially sell. And this is talking about blurbs, your cover, and even the content of your book. And how to just have a few ways that make it easier to sell once you actually want to go into advertising so that you're not wasting your money. So point number one is look at your genre on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, in the bookstores, and see what other people are doing. I think this is actually an incredibly annoying question that people often ask because people don't even bother to read their genre, look at the genre in the stores, yet they think they're qualified to write in it. You need to do research in your genre, know what the covers look like, know what the blurbs look like, know what the popular tropes are in the genre, because otherwise you're not going to know what readers are looking for, so you're not going to be able to sell to those readers. This can be as simple as walking around Barnes & Noble looking at covers and looking at the back of the book, reading the first page, reading the last page. I mean, you need to actually do the reading, but some of this is simple. A lot of things that aren't easy, like cover design and blurb design, are not that hard if you look at other books in your genre and base yours similarly off them. Obviously, don't copy it, but be able to see what other people do that works can be a great baseline to work from. Every genre is incredibly different, so posting in Facebook groups or Reddit groups asking for everyone to write your blurb for you without even saying what genre you're in is not going to be very helpful and is a waste of time to everybody. Do the work yourself and do the research you need to make your book sell well. Point number two is think about what makes your book unique. So now that you have an idea of what your genre looks like, you need to figure out what makes your book unique in that genre. Because if it's not unique, you're going to struggle. It'll just look like a copy of someone else's book. And that's not going to sell well. You need to have some type of unique, interesting thing. There's a lot of similar tropes people use, but find that one thing that makes your book different and be able to promote that as hitting the tropes, but hitting it in a new way. A lot of people like the same, but different. So being able to do this in a consistent and fun way will be able to sell your books, and especially if you can get that through in the blurb or even the cover as well. Being able to keep that cover design consistent but with your genre, but being able to integrate new and creative things into it can be a really strong tactic. This also comes through in the start of your book and just the design of your book in general. You need to be able to make sure, again, that it fits into your genre, but what can make it unique? Sure, you might have dragons or something in fantasy, but is there something unique about them? Is there some type of stones or artifacts or something that are cool in your world? And can you make that into an emblem that fits into your book somehow? And can that show up? People love stuff like that, and if you can do it well and be passionate about it, that'll come through and people will notice that. There's too many copycats out there in the book market, so take the time to make your book unique, make it fun, and you're going to be more excited about your book if it's unique and not a copy of someone else's. And if your book is a copy of someone else's, readers are going to often notice, and that could do really poorly with reviews for you as well. Now that we've looked at our genre and looked at what makes our book unique, we can look at point three, and that is talking to experts. One thing that's awesome about the writing community in general is there's a lot of successful authors that are willing to answer questions from newbies or even people that have experience and have new questions. Now, this is a place where Facebook groups and the subreddits I was talking about earlier can be actually very helpful. If you can come in showing that you've done your research and have legitimate questions, people are going to respect that and take your question a lot more seriously. They're going to know that you care about this. You're not just like, how do I market my book? That's not going to work. We don't need to tell you how to market your book when there's hundreds of research out there and articles and videos for you to watch. Take your time to look at those, and then if you have questions, follow up with people. And that's what experts are for. We want to help people, and we want to be able to work together and see the book market expand. But we can't do that if you don't do your research. I find it incredibly awesome, though, that the book market does allow for this, that you can reach out to some of the best-selling authors out there and show, if you've done that research, that they're going to talk to you. They'll answer some of your questions often. And that's really cool, because you can have read this person's book, really look up to these people, and they'll give you feedback on your own writing, or at least your own marketing and things like that. And that's incredibly helpful, because they have paved a way of success for a lot of us, and we want to be able to follow in their footsteps and see what's worked for them. This part also comes in because it's very hard for an author to do cover design and blurb writing apart from our own writing, because we very much often treat our work as our baby, and we're not looking at it as a product often. That's something that takes time to grow as a writer. But if you can get outside help, especially from those experts who know what sells in the market, and combine their research and their ideas with yours, you can often get a really cool product, especially if they know how to do cover design really well, or they know how to do blurb design really well. Sometimes you'll have to pay for those services, but it can be really worth it and lead to more sales. A cover is, unfortunately, really important. A lot of people say that, don't judge a book by its cover, but people do it anyway. If you walk around a bookstore, you're judging a book by its cover, or often its spine. So make sure you remember that. And those are my 3 tips on how to make your book marketable. On a personal note, if you missed my video I released earlier this week that went over my plan for the New Year's with my own writing, I'd be sure to check that out. I'll have a link down in the comments below. And again, if you like this video, always remember to like and subscribe down at the links below. I'll be coming out with new videos every Friday.